So, based on a lot of comments that have gone outside of my YouTube channel, I've learned something interesting. A lot of the people who watch my videos are actually people who don't know baseball, but are interested enough to watch my videos. So that's great and all, but to truly understand why I think certain ways about certain players, it's important to understand the stats that I mentioned. With that, I've decided to make a series progressively explaining different numbers of the stat sheet. For already baseball fans, yeah, it may be boring as hell to start, but as this series goes on, it will be more complex. Never understood defensive runs saved? Well, wait for that episode. But we're starting our episode on hits, so without further ado, let's learn about that and its variants. First, let's understand what a hit is in actual play. To even qualify for a hit, the ball needs to go in between these two lines. If you hit it outside of these two lines, then congratulations, you get a foul ball, and you get to try and hit again. And you're supposed to compete with these kind of pitches. Of course, I'm not talking about balls and strikes here since that's the basic rules of the game. I'll link a video down below that explains that well, but moving on, if by any chance you do in fact hit the ball between the lines, you're not quite safe there either. You see, the pitcher isn't there by himself. There's people that occupy the field who can prevent you from getting a hit. If we were making a checklist on what qualifies for a hit, the fielders are very important in that regard. To complete that checklist, there's mainly 4 things that need to happen. 1. We already explained that the ball must be hit within these two lines called fair territory. Second, the ball must not be caught by any of the fielders on the fly. So you could assume that if you hit it into the ground, you may get yourself a hit, but it's not that simple. Well, the ball just needs to beat you to first base. Of course, if you hit a ground ball to the third baseman, for example, he can still get you out if the throw reaches the first baseman before you reach that base. Obviously, you can see that the first baseman has his foot on the bag, and it's like an extension of the bag, and therefore means the runner has been beaten by the ball. To add on to the checklist, the hitter needs to reach the first base bag before the ball reaches it itself. But I mentioned 4 things, so what is that 4th check you need to check off before you get a hit? Well, if your hit is towards a fielder, they could rob you of a hit in another way by making a mistake. Of course, no fielder does this intentionally, but if you hit it to a fielder who should be catching it and just drops it, it's an error. You don't get a hit from that, since in normal circumstances, you should be out. Likewise, if you hit a ground ball to a fielder and they mess up their throw to first base, as long as they would normally get you out in normal circumstances, it's an error. So basically, to get a hit, you need to hit it where no fielders can catch it, and have it so that they normally can't throw the ball to beat you at first. Now that you should understand what a hit actually means, let's go to the statistics. Of course, reaching first base via a hit adds 1 to the hit category, which is represented by the symbol H. It's very important to know, however, how the other categories of hits are scored. You see, baseball isn't a game where there's only first base to reach, but there's other bases too. To reach the other bases, you'll always have to touch first base, meaning that getting a double, a triple, or a home run counted both the hit category and the category for the base you reached. It's also important to know, however, that reaching third base doesn't give you a double, and hitting a home run doesn't give you both a double and a triple. Wait, did I never explain what singles, doubles, triples, and home runs are? Well, let's quickly go to that. So, you've reached first base with a hit, and the checklist is all complete. But you also know that you can reach the next base before the fielder can beat you there. Well, you can't do that. This is Yankees hitter Gleyber Torres doing just that, hitting it to a place where no fielder can reach, as well as where rarely any fielders can throw him out at second. Since there were no errors on the play, it is scored a double, and he is both awarded with a hit and a double in the stat sheet. But what about the next base? What if the runner is fast enough where he could reach third base? Well, here's the speedy Byron Buxton doing just that, hustling for a triple. He is awarded a hit as he reached first base on the initial hit, and he is awarded a triple as he reached third base without any errors. He is not awarded a double, as a triple is more so a 2-base extension of the single, and not a 1-base extension of the double. So, we've covered doubles and triples, but what about home runs? Well, it's important to distinguish that there are 2 variants. One is the regular home run, and the other is the inside the park. As the latter is easier to explain, here's a clip of Adalberto Mondesi hitting the ball where the center fielder missed, and thus is able to run all the way around the bases for an inside the park home run. These are somewhat rare though, so let's move on to regular home runs. Since home runs are a hit, they still need to follow the basic checklist. But what happens if you hit the ball out of play, but it's still between the foul lines? Well, that's a normal home run. Joey Gallo in this play rocks a ball deep center field and out of play. Since it's clearly in between the foul lines, it's ruled a home run. Now, that's an obvious home run, but what if it hits the pole? Well, it's still a homer. Here's Robinson Chirinos doing just that. Okay, so hopefully you understand what a home run is, as well as the other types of hits I explained in this video. You'll also probably understand that a home run is scored both as a home run and a hit, but not a double or a triple. So to wrap everything up, I'm going to answer, what are good totals for these stats? With the hits category, it's kind of hard to really say what the minimum is, but if you have 200 hits in a season, that's considered elite. You see, as much as racking up hits looks nice, it's entirely dependent on how much a player has played. For example, a guy may have a huge hit total, but got that total due to playing a load of games, where the vast majority of his other at-bats do not result in a hit. To combat this, there's stats in another video. So what about doubles and triples? Hitting around 40 is where you're considered top talent. You see, like regular hits, most players can hit doubles if they just hit it to the correct areas. Down the lines, in the gaps, or prominently where anyone can get a double. An average hitter hits around 20 doubles, so above that is quite nice. What's difficult though is acquiring a triple, which the leaderboard is mostly made of speedsters. Hitting 7 triples is considered pretty good, and most batters only get 4 or less in a season. It's really dependent on speed, so if you see a batter with a high triple total, you can assume that they're one of the faster players in the MLB. Finally, everyone's favorite home runs. There's much more people who can hit home runs compared to triples, so to establish yourself as a quality home run hitter, hitting at least 30 is your best bet. 40 of course puts you near the top of the league, and 50 is usually historic. Hitting at least 20 means you've got some nice pop, while hitting at least 10 means you can hit one every now and then. Players who hit under 10 home runs are usually players who primarily don't have much fly ball strength. So to end off the video, let's take a look at the stat line of Mets first baseman Pete Alonso in 2019. He collected 155 hits, 30 doubles, 2 triples, and 53 home runs. What kind of offensive player is he? Is he a power hitter? Is he a speedster? Or can you not really tell? Comment down below and I will heart the correct answers. Thanks for watching.